All right, guys, we've got a 2006 Big Dog Pitbull Pro Street Custom Chopper motorcycle for sale. This motorcycle currently has extremely low 3,987 very well cared for miles. Now this particular bike is equipped with the metallic orange base paint job, and then you've got custom airbrushing. Definitely a very, very gorgeous paint job. Now in 2006, Big Dog equipped these bikes with the extremely powerful 1,916 cc, 117 cubic inch SNS V-twin motor. They also equipped the bike with a 6-speed Baker transmission. You've got a right side balanced drive, PM disc brakes, and PM polished billet wheels. They definitely didn't spare any expenses when they built this motorcycle. Now up front you've got a 21-inch rim. In the rear you've got an 18-inch rim with a gigantic 300mm tire. Definitely gives the bike that classic Pro Street Chopper look. Now this bike is pretty stock, besides the Super Trap exhaust. Not always a bad thing, so. Now I'd rate the bike at a 9.5 out of a 10. We'll go ahead and get you some close-ups to show you why. So first off, we've got that rear Avon tire. You've got approximately 25% of tread remaining, so it should definitely give you some more life. And so that won't have to be replaced right away. You've got that rear fender that's in great shape. One good thing is that this motorcycle doesn't have the passenger pegs, and the reason behind that is it means that there has been no suction cup pillion pad or suction cup 2-up seat on here. Most of the time when you see that, you'll see that the clear coat has been worn through and that there's some blemishing on that rear fender. And so that's definitely not a bad thing. You can always add some passenger pegs down the road if you want to facilitate a passenger, and then I always suggest adding some clear bra to that rear fender before you do that. That way you protect the paint job. Next, you've got the polished billet on the rear wheel. It really is in good shape. Has clearly been polished on a regular basis. Could use a little bit of elbow grease and polishing to look like new, but overall it's a pretty good example of the polished billet on a used motorcycle. Rear pulley is in the same condition as well. You've got that BDM solo seat. It is in good shape. You do have a little bit of veining right there. I'm sure you can see that. Pretty common on these seats to have that. And I don't know if they use a natural material that causes that. I don't know the reasoning behind that, but I do see that quite a bit. You've got that Super Trap exhaust that's in great shape, maybe with the exception of some light surface scratching from being dusted off through the course of the motorcycle's life. But overall, in really decent shape. Underneath of the frame does have some light scraping. Very common on these motorcycles just because they sit so low to the ground. It's dang near impossible to prevent that from happening. Move over to that electrical cover. Another thing is these electrical covers that are starting to crack around the mounts, and this front part has been zip tied by a previous owner, It's secure right now, but it is pretty common to have this happen as well. I believe they sell a repair kit that you can kind of alter it to secure to the motorcycle better. I know they also sell some aftermarket electrical covers that you could have repainted to match the bike. So there's a couple options there, but definitely want to point that out so you're aware. You've also got a little bit of nicking right there. And again, want to point that out, a little bit of scuffing back there as well. So got the gas tank. It's in really good shape. No major blemishes towards the bottom of the tank. You do have a little bit of scuffing right there, and that's probably about 1.5 inches in length. Very, very light. In fact, I'm going to try to buff that out with the buffer. That should mostly come out. It's very, very light. It doesn't feel like it's penetrated the clear coat, but do want to point that out so you're aware. Gas cap lid is in good shape. Might have a few little light scratches on top. A lot of the time, previous owners will set that down while they're refueling the motorcycle. Side of the gas tank's in really great shape. No major blemishes that I can point out. The motor's in really good condition. The rocker box covers don't have any blemishing whatsoever. You don't have any rust marks in here, so that means the bike has been dry its whole life and has been out of the weather. Definitely a great thing. Air cleaner's in good shape, no major blemishes to point out. You might have a little bit of residue on the front. Bottom of the motor's in great shape. You've got that foot brake lever and the front rider control peg. They're in fair shape. You do have a little bit of oxidation in between the rubber. That's pretty common on these stock OEM toe pegs. Handlebars are in great shape. Hand controls are in good shape, no major blemishes to point out. The mirrors are in good shape. You might have a little bit of a bug splat on the front of the mirrors, maybe a few minor tiny pin-tipped rock chips just from debris coming up. Front of the frame and the down tubes in really good condition. No major blemishes to point out, maybe a few minor pin tip rock chips. But overall, this is one of the better examples that I've seen for a 2006 model and having nearly 4,000 miles. Triple trees and forks in great shape as well. Headlights in great condition as well. Got that right fork that's in good condition. No major blemishes to point out, maybe the exception of some light blemishing just from some road debris, but nothing crazy. Front fenders in great condition. Really no blemishes to point out on that front fender. Polished billet on the front wheels in really good shape. Has clearly been taken care of over the course of the motorcycle's life. Again, it could use a little bit of polishing and elbow grease to look like new, but definitely the bike has been cared for. That front Avon tire, very similar to the rear tire. I'm going to deem this with 25% of tread remaining. This one has a little bit more weather cracking, very, very light weather cracking, but it's there, so I do want to point that out so you're aware of it. You can kind of see on the sidewall. But it should definitely give you some life. Left side of the front wheel is in good shape as well, very similar to the other side. Again, could use some polishing to look like new, but overall has been cared for. PM disc brakes in good shape. The brake rotor is in good shape as well. You do have some wear and tear just from being used. Overall, this bike is in good shape, actually great shape. Down tubes over here, great condition. You've got the shift lever and left front rider control peg. Again, very similar to the other side. You do have some blemishing in between the rubber. It's just rather hard to get in between there to polish, but it can be done. I have seen some guys polish these up to look dang near new, so definitely encouraging. Left side of the gas tank's in really good condition. No major blemishes to point out there, maybe with the exception of some light surface scratching from wiping the bike off with a dust cloth. Rocker box covers and ignition cover over here is in good shape, no major blemishes to point out. Engine jugs in fairly decent shape as well. A little bit of oxidation, but again, with a good polish, this should look dang near like new. So, primary covers in good shape. No major blemishes to point out there. Now, one thing I did notice up on top, I don't know what's happened here, but you've got some discoloration. And I don't know if some sort of fluid got on there to cause that to discolor a little bit, but I do want to point that out. But that's kind of tucked up in between the electrical cover and the primary drive and on the inside part. Electrical cover on this side is in fair shape. Again, you're dealing with the same scenario on these. The tabs have started to crack. That was one of the problems Big Dog had with the electrical covers. Again, I believe there is a repair kit that you can purchase to modify that to secure the motorcycle better, but want you to be aware of that. Again, the underneath of the frame has some light scrapes. The bike sits very low, so it's very common to have this happen. Just want you to be aware of that. The kickstand's in really good shape. You do have a little bit of blemishing just from being used. The chrome is peeling right there a little bit. It's bound to happen with how these work, but want you to be aware of that. Get a little bit of discoloration right there on the bracket that holds the rear fender to the frame. Got a little bit of blemishing here on the frame. Just some very, very light blemishes there. But they are there and you should be aware of them. License plate bracket holder. Looks like you've got some blemishing from some road debris coming up. This is polish built, so that can be definitely can be cut and buffed to look better. But just want you to be aware of that as well. got that PM brake. Looks like you've got a little bit of dirt down here. You've got that gorgeous airbrushing there. Again, no major blemishes on that rear fender. Polish built on the left rear wheel in a similar condition to the rest of the motorcycle. Overall, it's in really good shape, but could use some polishing to look like new. You've got that brake rotor that's got a little bit of wear and tear from being used, but overall, no major blemishes. Nothing that can be that can't be cleaned up. So. So hopefully that gives you a better idea of the condition of the motorcycle aesthetically. And we'll go ahead and fire it up for you right now. you have it, definitely shows the motorcycle runs extremely well. Rides even better. The spike is very, very tight. You can tell it's been well taken care of and everything functions as it should. If you guys do have any questions, definitely don't hesitate to contact me. You can reach me on my direct line, which is 801-564-0629. Again, that's 801-564-0629. You're also more than welcome to comment on the YouTube video if you have any additional questions. You can also email me. I'd suggest that you subscribe to our channel. Whenever we get a new inventory, we go ahead and shoot new pictures and videos and upload them. And that way, if you do subscribe, you'll be up to date on our new inventory. Another great way to track our inventory is to hop on over to our direct website. That website address is www.utahchopper.com. Again, that's www.utahchopper.com. There will also be a listing description of the motorcycle that will go through and list the options, and also a full condition report. The asking price will be in the listing description as well. If you guys have any additional questions, don't hesitate to let me know. I most definitely appreciate your time and also look forward to the possibility of working with you. Thank you so much.